It's the well.
Yeah, it's the well. You ain't heard of us. Hey, Rams. Hey, welcome. Heard with us. If you're looking around for a word to trust, check the Star Seed Journey. You can learn from us. Sex, sleep, drugs. What we gonna discuss? Whatever you need to be prosperous. Negativity, superfluous. All we really want is for you to just be true to you and be who you are, cause you are a star and you will go far. You can succeed at all of your dreams. You'll get your degree and all of those things, but you must take care of your health. Cherish yourself, your body, your mental, your brains, and your wealth. You can have fun and still be well. That's what we do here at the well.
Okay.
What you want to talk about?
We're done. No, I think that everything that the guys were saying was like on point. We got a chance to talk about, you guys heard us talk about toxic relationships. There's so many other aspects. So it's like we could be here like till 5 o'clock today just talking about it, but just what we want listeners to know is just be mindful of the red flags, and if there's some education you need on that, like we said, Kaylin is available. She's not confidential, but she's available, so just educate you on those things. And if there's a situation that you just want to run by me and I can help you kind of gauge whether your relationship is headed towards toxicity or if it's toxic or not, and you want to just have a conversation with me, then that's fine. And in that conversation, should you decide to report something or to give me details, then you have a confidential advocate to do that with. And then I'm also available to give you resources such as counseling and or on or off campus, and other resources to help you to cope or to safely exit a toxic relationship. So like we said, advocacy services are available, 828-6200. Right now, I am the only advocate, so you just call and ask to speak to Tamika or ask to be put on my calendar, and we can definitely have a conversation. And I'm also available at my options at vcu.edu, and I'm turning it back over to Caitlin.
Well, and I think that you make a really important point that I think is helpful for a lot of students potentially, and that is that somebody doesn't have to identify their relationship as abusive to come and see you and talk through
Not
that
at
with
all.
you. Somebody doesn't have to identify as a victim or as a survivor to come and just have a conversation with Tamika.
Not at all.
She can support you regardless. It doesn't have to be something that you think raises to the level of something that you can report to police. And you may not want to report to police anyway, even if it is at that level. And Tamika will support you regardless of how you want to move forward.
And I also deal with hypotheticals. So if you want to come in and say, hey, this is not me, but my cousin's baby's mama's sister's hairdresser's aunt's brother's cousin's dad's mom, I deal with those as well.
Love it. Do we want to talk a little more? I mean, do you think we've talked enough about healthy relationships? Because I think we kind of hit on red flags and toxic relationships. And, you know, I think it's important for our students to know, in the absence of those things, like, we hope that you never experience those things in relationships.
Yes,
but
we
also,
hope.
as we've highlighted, if you do, you have resources available to you on campus.
Yes.
But what is it that we want to see in healthy relationships? How do we know we're in a healthy
Oh,
relationship?
goodness. That's a good question. Well, speaking of someone who I can give you the contrast, because I was in a very unhealthy marriage, toxic marriage. There was domestic violence, there was emotional abuse, there was physical abuse, all those things. I did that for 12 years, and I remarried in 2015. And now I see the difference, and the main difference is the communication. Being open and honest with the person. Communication is a sign of a good, healthy relationship. Being friends. You know, a lot of times we're in a relationship that you say that's your significant other, that's your partner, spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, but are we friends? Can we hang out? Is our relationship good outside of the bedroom? Can we just, you know, be friends and just do things together without it being sex? A good test is if you can take it, I'm not saying do this, but if you can say, okay, outside of our sexual relationship, are we friends? Do we have a good communication? Do we have good dialogue? What kind of dialogue do we have? If your dialogue is good and it's positive for the most part, then yeah, chances are you're in a very healthy relationship. And if we disagree, does it go there? Does it go to the level of verbal abuse and things of that nature? If you can disagree and peacefully disagree, because people do disagree in relationships, and you can still wake up the next morning and say, "Ooh, that was a doozy last night." Yeah, you said what you had to say, I said what I had to say, and move forward after the disagreement, then yeah, you're definitely looking at a healthy relationship. Another thing that makes it healthy is when you're able to not be influenced by outside negative influences. Like if you have people in your life that have been married for a while and they're very positive people and they speak into your life and they help you with your relationship, then that's great. But if you allow the negativity of others to come in, then yeah, that's not a good relationship. But like I said, if you've got positive influences that are influencing your relationship, then yeah, that's very healthy for your relationship. And if you are in a relationship and you may have a disagreement with your spouse or, the small things, and you learn how to cope and have those good coping mechanisms inside your relationship, so much to the point where you don't have to just run and tell every little thing. That's very healthy, because that means we're at a point where we're big boys and big girls, or big girls and big girls, or big boys and big boys.
Or
and
big humans.
Yeah, big humans or whatever. It runs it across the board, all relationships. Then you're able to deal with those things without having to go, Caitlin is my friend and I have an issue with my husband, and oh my God, Caitlin, he left the toilet seat up. Oh my God, again, without running to Caitlin for every little thing. But I can say, honey, this toilet seat thing, I fell in last night. I'm not happy. Like, I don't want you to do that. And when I'm able to deal with those things. So, but, that's a sign of a healthy relationship. And then, if you're when you love being in the presence of that person, and you know that you're going to go home to that significant other, and that you don't have to be like super excited, like, doing flips through the door, but just knowing that is a place of that space with that person is a place of comfort and peace, or being in their presence brings you peace. That's a healthy relationship. And that's the difference that I learned, because in my previous relationship, Kaylin, I would sit in the driveway and try to figure out how to go back to work because I didn't want to deal with my spouse. But now when I come home, it's a place of peace for me. So my husband comes home later than I am, but I am like sitting on the couch like, he should be here in a minute now. He's coming home now. It's like, and it's been 3 years and I'm still like, hey, is he here yet? Is he here yet? I'm me and the dog. Is he here yet? Is he here yet? So there's a difference, because he's my place of peace. He's my place of comfort. And so that's good when that person brings you that, because that's what you want in a relationship. You ought to be able to tell your partner anything, like, oh my God, I had a jacked up day. This is what happened. They may not be able to solve the issue, but the fact that I can tell them that, and there's nothing negative that comes out of that, that's a good sign that you're in a good relationship.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love love.
I love love, especially when it's peaceful love. Just like, and everything is not perfect every day.
Of course not.
Sometimes you're going to disagree. You're going to be like, I don't like what you said. Like, who are you?
Conflict is a normal part of relationships, because we are all individual human beings.
Absolutely.
And we come to relationships, friendships, partnerships with our different experiences, our different perspectives, our different opinions.
Come on.
And so conflict is going to be a natural part of a relationship.
Absolutely.
It's about how we navigate through that conflict.
Absolutely. And how we cope with it, and how we don't allow it to define our future interactions. If I'm, my husband, I remember he made the biggest snafu last Valentine's Day. Like, oh my God, like he owes me big time. So
you're going to have a good one this year.
Oh my God, yes. He knows. But it was like, oh my God, you just let Valentine's and you're sleeping? So he'd worked all day. But anyway, I was upset, like super upset. I'll be very transparent. I went downstairs. I'm in the basement crying because I didn't get anything for Valentine's Day. I mean, I'm upset, but, I did not allow, that was a horrible moment. Now, when he woke up the next day, yeah, we talked about it. But it was over. It was over after the 15th. Like, I was not going to let that define my future interactions with him. Because like, okay, guy, you screwed up, do better. That's it. And a couple months later, I got some diamonds, so yay for me.
Hey.
But I did not let that moment define us, and I didn't keep bringing it up. Like, oh my God, in February, remember when I was in the basement crying? I didn't do that, and that is a sign of a healthy relationship, because we can disagree, and it may be a big snafu in the eyes of whether one partner or the other, but we have to be able to look at that, like the young man said, as an experience, learn from it, and move forward. When I just stay in that experience, but not willing to learn from it, but I just want to harp on it, then that's not good, you know?
I think that's such an important point. And I think that, I love that you said, hey, you woke up on the 15th and it was over, or maybe the next day. And that's really great that you're able to do that. Some of us might, for some issues or conflicts, might need more than a few hours or 24 hours.
And that's perfectly fine.
And at some point we have to figure out, we got to let go and or move on.
Exactly.
Right?
At some point.
I had a friend who was in a relationship. Her partner messed up really big. And it was months later that she was still bringing this stuff up. And I said to her, you got to either get past this or you got to end this relationship.
One of the two.
Right? Because what are you going to just keep on harping this? And, it happened. Y'all have talked through it. But at some point, you can't continue to let this impact your interactions. And I think a lot of times it can be tempting to try to keep score in a relationship.
That is so unhealthy.
And that just
oh my gosh
makes every single conflict, and like we said, conflict is normal, it's going to happen.
Absolutely.
But it then makes every single conflict 16 times bigger.
Absolutely.
Because now I'm not only addressing the conflict that is happening in this moment, but I'm now bringing up what happened last month and 3 months ago and last year and last Valentine's Day, and it becomes so much bigger. And then we lose sight of what we're even in conflict about.
Like, why are we together? Like, why are we together if we got to keep, tit for tat? Like, you didn't do this, so I didn't do this. Well, I'm not going to do this until you do this. And relationships, when you're in a relationship, you have to be able to, there's a part, I'm not saying that you abandon who you are, but there's a part of you that has to become selfless at some point. Two selfish people cannot stay in a relationship. It's not going to work. You have to be able to meet that person in the middle. You have to use the C word. And I know it's a horrible word, compromise.
Why is that?
The C word is so horrible to some people. Oh my God, it is horrible. Because they like the other C word, control.
Those people.
Yeah, that C word. That's the worst C word than the other C word. So a lot of people don't want to compromise. They want to be in control. So imagine you got two people, they both want to be in control. Nobody wants to kind of loosen the rope. You know how you play tug of war? And so instead of pulling on the rope together to meet in the middle and let's find some common ground in this thing, I want it my way. So guess what? I'm going to pull my husband my way, but my husband is trying to pull me. And so there we have conflict. And like you said, then that tug of war bleeds over into anything. So we can't even decide where we want to go for dinner. Like, I want Chinese. Well, I don't want Chinese. And the only reason why I don't want Chinese, because you said you wanted Chinese, So it's like, I have to win. And that tit for tat is so dangerous. That keeping score is so dangerous. And you'll never get anywhere in your marriage. It's literally like two people of equal strength pulling on a rope. You'll never win. You'll just be out there for hours just pulling on a rope. You're never going to win. So we have to be able to utilize that C word that a lot of people don't like, compromise.
And for me, that brings up vulnerability.
Oh, that's good.
And I think that vulnerability feels really scary for a lot of people because it's kind of the nature of it, is letting myself open up to another human being, and that potentially opens me up for hurt.
Absolutely.
Because I am opening myself up and not being guarded. And so when we let go of that need to have control, we are leaning into some vulnerability. And I am such a firm believer in the power of vulnerability. I think that when I show up in my relationships and I allow myself to be vulnerable, it gives space for other people to be vulnerable. And that to me is really the beauty of deep and intimate human connection.
That is beautiful. I'm about to cry. Like, because that is so beautiful what you said, like, because that vulnerability is missing in a lot of people's relationships. The refusal to basically, like you said, let the person in and be like, okay, hey, and I understand it, on one side it does open you up to being hurt, but it also opens you up to such a healthy relationship, because it's like, okay, you're being vulnerable, so I can. And it doesn't mean like vulnerability as in crying all the time or hush hush, like, no, I'm not hush hush, but mushy type stuff, but just letting the person in and letting the person know, I'm here. I'm here to be there for you, and I'm allowing you to be there for me, and knowing that I don't have to be the strong one all the time. I need to be able to lean on you as much as you are able to lean on me, and letting the person know, hey, I need you. And, vice versa.
Yeah, it's that being able to acknowledge that we need support.
Absolutely.
From other folks, from our partner, or from, and this goes across the all of the aspects, or different, this goes across all the different types of relationships that we have, I believe. Letting folks know that we need them in the moment, or what we're feeling, asking for help, even just talking about our feelings. And that brings us back to our earlier conversation. Even me, if I'm in a new relationship, me telling somebody, hey, I'm into you, that is a moment of vulnerability, right? Because that opens me up for that person to maybe say, well, I'm not that into you. And it also gives space for that person to then be vulnerable and then be like, well, Keelan, I'm really feeling you too.
Oh, well, hello, somebody.
Right? And so, or even coming back to that earlier situation where I talked about maybe something a partner did triggered me, right? And I might choose to go process that in spaces that are safe. I might choose to process that with my partner in that moment. That's a moment of vulnerability that we can grow from, because if we're in a healthy relationship, my partner's going to say, wow, thank you for being courageous enough to share this part of yourself with me, because it allows me to interact with you in a more affirming and healthy way.
Exactly.
And that, to me, is the beauty of the kind of intimate connections that we can have with other human beings.
Absolutely. I like how you put that. And even if they don't say those exact words, guys, but if they respond if their response is like what Caitlin said with, oh, wow, I appreciate what you're saying. Like I said, they may not say the words, but the fact that they meet you where you are, that's a good thing. And so and another thing too, now that you mentioned that, a lot of times when we are expressing ourselves to our partners, one thing we need to understand is two things. First thing, when you express yourself, how you feel, do not try to guess what their response is going to be.
Reading.
Oh my goodness.
We all think we're mind readers.
Oh, I think I am. I think I am. I swear I am. Because, sometimes I'll give you an example like myself. I'm thinking, when I tell him that blah, 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 or that this didn't sit well with me, he's going to say this, and then I'm going to say this. Then when they say the total opposite, we get upset because it didn't go quite the way we wanted it to go, or we're surprised or whatever. So when you communicate, just communicate from your heart, from your safe place or whatever, and allow them whatever response, positive or negative, to give that response, but don't have any preconceived dialogue in your mind that's going to happen after you say what you said. Because first of all, it depends on what is said and how it is said, and then what the person's mood is at the time or what have you. So just make sure that you're doing that. And then also, when you're communicating with your partner, husband, wife, friend, significant other, it's complicated. All of those people, boo thing, all the names, babe, lover. When you're communicating with them, listen to understand. Don't listen to respond. So Kaylin and I are talking, and she's like, and we're coworkers. But but this is a relationship. So she's talking, and she's like, yeah, Tamika, so we're gonna do this on the program, and I think we should do A, B, and C, and D. But I don't like B, so I didn't hear nothing about A, C, or D. My mind is already, I'm getting ready to respond about B. Ooh, I can't wait till she get through because I'm going to let her have it. First of all, Kaylin, B is not going to happen. But I didn't hear, hey, Tamika, we could do A, C, D, B, or G, or whatever. Because of my selective hearing, I selected what I wanted to respond on, and I failed to hear her other points. So in relationships, when our partners, significant others, lovers, whatever, are communicating with us and they're saying, this is how I feel, this is what happened, blah, blah, blah. Don't listen to respond. Just listen. And I'm going to put a plug in here for this too, because I'm learning this. Help me. When your partner comes to you with an issue that is something outside of your relationship, say, for example, a partner, or a husband, family member, whatever, your significant other comes to you and say, you know what, at work today, it really sucked, and so was getting on my nerves. A lot of times, and especially women, I'm just going to be honest, especially us women, a lot of times it's not for you to try to solve it. Just listen. And the reason why I give that nugget sometimes, because a lot of times I know that sometimes as we love our partners, we love our significant others, we love our spouses, and we love the people that we're with, or we at least like them. And I just want to fix it. So Kaylin comes to me and says, oh, I had already at work and my boss was on me. And I'm like, well, you should tell your boss this. Well, what did you say? You should have came in and did this. No, how about I just listen? And acknowledge that Kaylin had a pretty bad day. Like, oh my God, that sounds like your day was jacked up. I hate that happened to you. Tell me something else about it. Let them get it all out. And a lot of times I think that will save a lot of arguments, because what I have found in the empowerment coaching that I do outside of my job in relationship coaching, what I'm learning is that I get so many women that say, you know what, I was telling him about my day and he found one thing about it and said, this is what I should have did different. Well, why don't you just do this? Well, you wouldn't have did that. It's just, they automatically go there. And this are men and women. So what I'm saying is just be prepared to listen.
I think that's such an important point, because I think that we all come from different perspectives and how we want to support people.
Good point.
And how we want to solve problems. And we think that, and we sometimes project onto other people, well, this is how I would want them to respond to me in the situation, right? And so that's how I'm going to respond. Or this is how I like to give advice or support other people.
Very good.
And so we project that onto somebody else. And I think the most powerful and supportive things that people have said to me when I'm coming home and I'm venting about my day, or I'm processing through an issue or a conflict that I'm having, is when somebody says to me, how can I support you in this moment?
Absolutely.
And it's also really important for me in that moment to be able to articulate what that can look like. And that's been a learning process for me.
Awesome.
So thinking through, what do I need in this moment? Do I need advice and support because I trust this person and I know they maybe have similar experiences as what I'm talking through right now? Or maybe I need to say, I just need you to listen to me in this moment. Or maybe I need them to say, or maybe I want to tell them, I just want the space to be able to vent, or whatever that looks like. We can articulate that to that person in the moment. I recently was doing just this, and the person that was listening to me literally said, do you just want me to listen to you right now, or would you like me to give you some advice? And that was so powerful and helpful, because in that moment I did want advice. I needed something from them. I valued their perspective on the situation. And was trying to figure out how to move forward in that situation. But there are so many times that I don't want somebody to try I don't want somebody to try to solve my problems. I want them to just hold space for me.
Oh, I like that. I like that term. I'm going to steal that and pretend it is mine.
I didn't make it up.
Okay,
I love
great.
it too, though.
Okay, great. I'm just going to steal it. Hold space. And that, I think about the work that I do with our students since I've been here. A lot of times I find myself, because I'm not a therapist, I find myself just holding space.
Yes.
and allowing them. And then the first thing I tell the students when they come in, Kaylin, is that this is a safe space. I call my office a safe space. I try to decorate it, make it look like a safe space. So when they come in, they feel comfortable enough to say whatever needs to be said, because first of all, they know that I'm confidential, which is great. Secondly, that in that safe space, I hold that space for them to give them that room to say whatever it needs to be said. And then I ask, just like you said, I tell them, hey, I'm here to listen. And then I tell them, now, I'm not a therapist, but I'm a great cheerleader. I said, and I give you your options, and whatever options you choose, that is where I'll support you. Whatever you choose to do, because at the end of the day, you are in control of your life. You're in control of what happens here moving forward. And so I think that's very important. And so if we bring that over into relationships, and like you said, let them know, hey, what can I do to assist you with this? I remember a friend of mine, I'm gonna actually send him this podcast. I'm gonna call his name Darius. And Darius, he has this thing. He asks his wife, what do you want me to do? It just, how can I help you? What can I do to make this thing better? And whatever she says she needs from him, that's what he does. And I think that it's so powerful in a relationship to say, what can I do? And if, like you said, Kaylin, if you sit there and say, just listen, then that's what we need to focus on. No responding, no nothing. No projecting or anything, because in relationship we do have a tendency to project a lot. Not even projecting, just saying, okay, I'm here. Just be present. Just sit. Let's just sit right here. Let's just sit quietly. There are times when I think about, my husband. I have a very quiet and introverted husband. I'm very extroverted. And just having him, because he's a good listener, just having him sit while I just express everything, or sit, if sometimes when I'm sitting in the quiet and he's sitting, and having those quiet moments, you'd be amazed the communication that goes on in quiet time with your significant other, just sitting and just focusing on something else and just being quiet and just having that moment to come together without words and just sitting in a quiet place is powerful. It is amazing. And so giving that person that space and that option to do whatever they want to do in that space, and allowing them to just control that space, especially if they're the one with the issue, I think is very, very important. It really, really is. So relationships are often complicated. And they're often, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But I think the one thing that the many things that Kaylin and I agree on, I know the one major thing is that we have to find a way to navigate those and to let our partners know that we're here for them, that we respect them. Respect goes a long way in a relationship. Like, you really can't survive in a relationship without respect. Like, if even as coworkers, if I don't respect Kaylin, then our working relationship is not going to work. If I don't respect her in her craft and what she does, who she is as a person, first of all, then it's not going to go anywhere. So even as we deal with our significant others and lovers and spouses, or, what have you, you have to make sure you respect them for the person that they are and not try to change them or come down on them because they were different. You knew that, that partner was into, let's say, comic books. And they go to Comic-Con and they like Thor and I'm talking about myself because I love comics. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
I didn't know that about you. Thank you for sharing.
Yes,
and being vulnerable.
I'm
a piece of yourself.
I'm a superhero girl. Like, I'm here for Spider-Man and all of the comics. My dream is to go to Comic-Con, but I'm not going to dress up, but I will go. And now that we're in a relationship, we want to try to say, well, you spend too much time looking at superhero movies, and why are you always watching the Arrow and Supergirl and Black Lightning and Avengers? Why do we have to have all the Avenger movies? I mean, it's like, now you're trying to get me to conform to what you want. Well, I think we should just watch, turn to classic movies and we should watch Christmas movies all the time. That's not what I want to do. So you knew that about me. And so when we try to get them to conform into us, I think that that's when we lose respect for the person and who they are, so. So it's so respect, what we talk about, respect, communication. Lack of violence, being, what's that? Holding a space for our partners is very good. But there are so many different things. Like I said, we will be here till 5:00. But those are just a microcosm, small portion of the things that we can do to promote healthy relationships. But just, be mindful to evaluate your actions and your reactions. And if we all do that, I think that we would definitely be the better for it to work towards healthy relationships. Yep.
And I want to plug, we've talked a little bit, we've touched on mindfulness a handful of times, whether it's talking about kind of the physical.
We did.
Sort of manifestations of unhealthy relationships or toxicity, or talking about just in our communication being mindful, or being mindful of being sensitive to what our partner or what our friend or what our coworker needs.
Exactly.
Or being mindful of their love for comic books, right? So we talked a lot about mindfulness. And so if that's something that's new to you, I want to encourage you, Ramily, to come to the Well on Mondays at noon, anytime class is in session, and practice some mindfulness with us. This can help us engage in our relationships in more grounded ways that can be really helpful as we're navigating through practicing healthier relationships.
Absolutely.
So if we are going into a conflict, to come back to something Tamika said, if we're going into a conflict or even a conversation, and we are listening to respond and not listening, that's because we are not being mindful and present in that moment.
I love that. Absolutely.
And so if I know I'm going into a tough conversation, or if I know I'm going into my day, I try to practice the tools that I have in my toolbox to be more mindful in that conversation, to be more grounded in that conversation, to be more present in that conversation, so that I am showing up for the person that is in front of me or people in front of me, and able to listen and hold space for them in all the ways and things that they're bringing to that conversation. So come check out Mindful Mondays. Some other events we have coming up. Come check these out. We'd love to see you. Definitely check out our PHEs, which are our peer health educators. They are an awesome, engaged group of students that are excited about promoting wellness across our campuses. And so our PHEs, peer health educators at the Well, are going to be out and about every Wednesday at different times in the Health Hut. Have you seen the Health Hut yet? It's so much fun. It's big, flashy table. It's black and gold. It's got our logo on it. And it's a really great way to engage with our peer health educators around different health topics. So you can check out our website. It's thewell.vcu.edu to find out when and where the peer health educators, PHEs, are going to be out and about in the Health Hut. You can also see our calendar of events on that website. And please also check us out on social media, because we do a lot of posts on there. So we are at The Well VCU on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on Snapchat. So check us out in those ways too. This month we have Healthy Love Quickies on consent and boundaries. This is my Valentine's Day special. So if you don't have plans prior to 4 p.m. on the big V-Day, or maybe you just don't even celebrate V-Day either. There's some of us out there like that. And you want to come have a conversation about consent and boundaries, similar to some of the things that we've touched on today, you can come check us out on the big February 14th, from 3 to 4 p.m. in Virginia Room A. And that is to kick off Healthy Love, Healthy Sex Week. We are celebrating healthy love and healthy sex all week long, starting on the February 14th. Check us out. We'll have a lot of events posted on our website and social media pages. Lots of different opportunities to have fun conversations about hot, healthy relationships and hot, healthy sex. So definitely check us out on there. We've got, along with those things, for Healthy Sex, Healthy Love Week, we've got a Pleasure 101 featuring Planned Parenthood, who are our awesome partners. That's going to be in Virginia Room A on February 18th at 2 p.m. We've got another one for Healthy Sex, Healthy Love Week, a One Love Escalation Workshop. So some of the things we talked about earlier in the podcast today around red flags and how we can recognize when those are coming up in our own relationships or others. It's a really well-made film. It's really, what's the word I'm looking for? It's an awesome film.
It's awesome. Super awesome
film called Escalation. So you get to come and check out that movie. It's only 45 minutes long. And then you get to have an awesome discussion about the movie, which is also 45 minutes long, with our Team One Love at VCU. So that Escalation workshop is going to be on February 19th at 2 o'clock in the SGA Senate Chambers. And that's in the Commons on the first floor, formerly known as the Forum Room. We've also got Self-Love and Substances featuring my colleague Kat. That's going to be on February 20th at 1:30 in Virginia Room B. And then we've got a Healthy Sex Quickie on February 21st at 2 p.m. And that's with my colleague Mia. And that's Healthy Sex Quickie on Sexuality, 2 p.m. February 21st. So definitely come check those out. We're going to have free swag at all those events. If you've seen those awesome Very Caring You t-shirts walking around campus, we'll try to have some of those. We've got some sleep masks. We've got some coloring books for you to practice mindfulness with. And definitely check us out in our next podcast. We're going to have Mia talking about healthy sex, I think. And if you have questions, you want to engage in our podcast, we want to talk to you. So email us your questions or what you want to hear about at thewell@vcu.edu.
And university counseling is via the advocacy program. The one thing that we do have coming up in February for Black History Month, February 21st, second floor of the Commons Enrichment Salon number 4, we're going to be talking about African American women in sexual assault, a culture of silence and disbelief. Now, this is open to everyone. What we want to do is have an in-depth discussion from slavery to R. Kelly, and we're going to talk about the issues surrounding why black women report, why they don't report, and things of that nature. And as a culture, how can we change that? And so this is open to everyone. We want to hear from you. We want your opinions, and we're going to be there from 6 to 8 p.m. that night, Thursday, February 21st. There will be light refreshments. So come out and join us and see how you can be part of the change. Also, we are going to be doing a series called Booze and Boot Up, Kaylin and myself, and it is about safety when we are out drinking and when we're out partying and things of that nature, to reduce risk of certain things that happen in those atmospheres. And so we just want our students to be safe, and so we're going to be doing that at the different residence halls. We've already gone to GRC, and so we are reaching out to different RAs and people of that nature. But if you don't live in the residence halls and you do want to come, please come out and join us. It's a lot of fun. It's not death by PowerPoint. We're very interactive. We just want to hear from you. How do you protect yourself? How do you protect your friends? And then we want to let you know that if anything ever happens, we know that it is definitely not your fault if something happens. And we just want people to understand that there are ways that we can kind of reduce the risk of things happening and to keep our VCU families safe, okay? And if you have any questions or have any programming ideas or just want to have a conversation about the services connected to sexual assault, domestic violence, intimate partner violence, stalking, and harassment, please give me a call. I'm Tamika McCoy. I'm at 828-6200, or you can email my options at vcu.edu.
And if you want to do some healthy relationship programming, some bystander intervention programming, some violence 101 programming, if you want to host an escalation workshop, our awesome One Love, Team One Love escalation workshops, or any of the Healthy Love Quickies, or what other programs do I have? Bystander intervention programs. You can reach out to me at Tingle, just like the word, it's my last name, TINGLEKM as in Michelle, at vcu.edu. You can give me a call if you're down with that. I know not a lot of us like to use the phone these days, and that's 804-828-7695. This is Kaylin Tingle, and I'm signing off.
Be well.